Welcome to Board Game Archaeologists. We play time-worn games from the past. I'm Hunter.
I'm Rob.
And today we're looking at Eau Claire Trivia.
Eau Claire Trivia from Trivia Games Production from Rochester, Minnesota. Originally copyrighted in 1990. The Eau Claire version, I think they did this all over the country probably, or at least in the Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, who knows, range. This was copyrighted in 1995.
And the object of the game is to get all three of your pieces into the center of the board.
Yeah, and the game comes with a cover of Eau Claire history, and it's old-time history with Barstow Street in the late 1800s. We also have 3 different colors for 4 different characters. You can play 2 to 4 players. And we have a stack of Eau Claire trivia cards. And the cool thing, and what makes this a real interesting thing for the locale, is all the businesses on here are from Eau Claire.
And how you start the game is everyone takes a die, and they roll for highest.
Hi.
And in this case, the person on the left of the person who rolled the highest typically would be the person asking questions. But in this case, that's me. And before anyone can even move, the first question needs to be answered correctly. So what year was Wu Pagodas built?
1946.
And that is correct.
I cheated.
And
that was a tough one, but I did that because our Hunter's grandparents and my in-laws, their favorite place to eat.
And then you would get to roll both of your die and get one or more of your pieces out.
Right, and you can split your dice roll up. So if I roll a 3 and a 1, I can roll 1, but I can only take one person out per question. So I can't move another person, so I would go the 1, 2, 3. If you land on somebody else's start, if you're in somebody else's entrance and they come in, you have to move your farthest player all the way back to start. Now, if you bump into somebody like this, then they move back 5 places.
And another little nifty thing is that if you roll doubles with your dice after you answer a question correctly, then you can just go ahead and roll again for the next turn. You don't even have to answer a question.
Yep.
And with that correct answer in your typical turn, you would then have the opportunity to get another question. So, for example, true or false, the Master Lock Company has its headquarters in Milwaukee.
True.
That is correct.
Nice.
And really, that is one of the big things about this, is that the information is very specific and you're really hoping for those true and false questions.
So yeah, and the pros and cons, one thing I thought was funny about the board is, so you have this place where you put the cards face down, and then you have a place, discard pile, where you put the cards face down. The cards are designed bigger than the area. So by the first time you put a card down, you can get lost on which one is supposed to be your discard pile and not a discard pile, especially when it gets further along in the game. Very timely. If you don't know a lot about Eau Claire, you're going to have a real difficult time playing this game. Some of the questions are true or false. Some are a 50-50 shot, and that's your best guess. I would have never known Wu's Pagoda, and I've eaten there many times. It's been long gone, and some generations don't even know what we're talking about when we say Wu's Pagoda. We also had Wally's Chalet, which was Hunter's Great Papa's favorite place to eat. And that place has been long gone and made into a sports bar many years ago. But yeah, I feel some company went from town to town and made deals with them. Or this could have even been a university project in the College of Business where they went from town to town, got sponsors for the game, and were able to make the game.
And I do kind of appreciate the amount of research that they did in the questions. I wouldn't have known about the Wu's Pagoda thing at all. The structure of the board is a little wonky. It's very confusing at first, where the start is, and with all of the icons, whether or not the businesses mean something when you land on them. But once you figure out that it's more or less in the same kind of configuration as Sorry,
right? Then Sorry, aggravation, trouble, they're all kind of the same. It's the same theme.
It's just a little harder to tell just from looking at it.
Yeah, it's busy with all the advertising on it. But it's kind of fun. If you're from Eau Claire, you're going to recognize most of the stuff, especially if you're older. A lot of it still exists. A lot of it
Yeah.
doesn't still exist.
But you're going to have a hard time, regardless of whether you were even there at the time or not. You're going to have a hard time with the trivia
You
questions.
really are.
That's going to test how aware you were for the last few decades.
Right. And if you're a really big Eau Claire trivia buff. Oh, yeah. One thing we forgot to talk about is you only have 3 chances per round. You can't go 4 rounds. If you answer the first question right, answer the second question right, you get a third time. That's it. You get a stop at that point. Or if you get that first question right, you roll doubles, you get a freebie. You don't even have to answer a question. You roll that third one, and then you're done at that point, too.
And let's face it, the odds of that will probably be pretty small.
These questions are tough.
But it only adds kind of to that kind of like confusion of some of the board and some of the way that it's structured in that way.
Yeah, you can tell it's not created by a bunch of designers. I think it's created by, like I said, a college of business class or something like that, just selling product. And they probably had a stamp machine that kind of made it this way.
Well, thanks for watching.
Yeah, and if you want to know more about us, check us out at toyarchaeology.com. You can also find us on Facebook. And don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube and check out Bill Hauser Art.
Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.